Hey guys, this is Paul from Smart Easy DIY. Welcome to episode 8 of Building My Garage. So today I'm getting gravel delivered, and I hired a local company that does a conveyor belt on their trucks so they can pretty much get the material right in close to where you need it to go. So if you saw how I ended the previous video, I did put grade stakes in about every 6 to 8 square feet for him and was able to shoot that with my laser transit to get a mark on it so he had something to reference off of. That really helped him with the install so he could get it pretty close for me. It saved a lot on the raking that I had to do. Still have to do some raking, but it way cuts down on the raking and wheelbarrowing, so it saves a lot of time. So I figured it was worth it. I think it was about $500 a load delivered like this compared to, I don't know what it would be, about half that, maybe $250, $300 for if you just got gravel and got it dumped. So it was definitely worth it for me for that extra because it was about 2.5 loads and he had it done. So anyway, you can see how far this thing can shoot. It can shoot quite far. One cool thing is it's remote control, so he can drive it from right outside the truck as well. He never has to go back in. And the other thing that was pretty cool, really cool guy, local company, and he let my oldest son drive it with the remote control when he was ready to leave here. So that was pretty neat. That's a memory he'll never forget. And then, of course, boys will be boys. As soon as it's good to go, they're out there ready to play in the dirt and the gravel.
Okay, so he shot 2 loads in here, so we got most of the way. You can see a little bit right there. So there's very little raking required. There's a little bit, and you can see it's a little tall right there. I'm using just a 2x4 for a straight edge and a flat shovel or rake, and you can use all your reference points off your grade stakes and it gets it really close. So you can see right there, actually I don't need a full load, but he said it's about the same price to get a full load as a half load. So I'm just gonna get a full load and have the rest for driveway later. So right there is still where we need some. I might have to add a little bit here and there by the footers, but overall looks really close. So yeah, about 2.5 loads of gravel in here. So I got about 2/3 of it all leveled out. It really didn't take a whole lot of raking. That guy got it really pretty close. You can see a little bit of unevenness here where nothing has been touched. I'm just screeding it with a 2x4 kind of in between. I go with the rake and get my grade established right where my mark is. And then I use the 2x4 and scrape it a little if I need to. But overall, you can see I need to do pretty much from here forward now. If the footers are a little too wide here, I might add a little bit, but I have some left over, half a load left over, which I'm going to use on my driveway anyway, so it's okay to have a little extra. But yeah, overall, really happy with that conveyor belt truck. They've done good work for me in the past. If you have a similar option in your area, I would recommend considering it anyway. It does save a lot on all the raking and work you have to do. Once you get to this point, things are starting to look like things are happening. So this is exciting. If you're at this point in your build, I'm excited for you. I know the feeling. So I had talked about this gravel a little bit and getting this leveled in here. So it's really nice to have grade stakes pretty close together. It just makes it easier for you. Like this we did, I think we ended up doing about 8 feet one way, 6 feet the other, approximately, just with the stakes that I had. That worked pretty good. If I did it again, I might move them a little closer together. It would make grading a little easier, perhaps. But this isn't bad. So he did get it a little bit heavy here, but what I like to do is go around by each stake and do kind of a square. Do it in squares so it's not overwhelming. Just do one section at a time. And I find the grade mark and find out, rake down to where that is, level it out. And then sometimes I use like a 2x4 or something for a straight edge to kind of get in between those two. So you can kind of experiment with however you want to do it. And sometimes you can tell by eye just raking it. So then I like to, if there's too much, I like to kind of rake it in the middle. Then I use a flat shovel so it doesn't gouge in there and get it loaded in there. And I'm moving it to the backside because I need more on that footer back there. But if you have a little excess, you can just dump it outside or whatever, or take it to a spot that's low. Just find out kind of what works for you. So I find if you bite off a little bit at a time, then you don't get overwhelmed. You know the saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So that's kind of how I'm eating this elephant, is one bite at a time. So it's not like too overwhelming. All right, so I got everything leveled out the best I can and then pulled all the stakes out. And I tried to make this wide enough so that my plate compactor can fit through here. So I'm going to pack this down and then go up here and pack this down. And this edge might slough off a little bit, but that's why I want to get this done first, the footer. That's the plan. But now that we got this all done, we're going to, since I got a hydrant right there from when I dug the water line in, we're going to wet this down really good. The boys are going to help me because they love water, of course. What little boy doesn't love water? They're going to help me spray this down, and we'll get it soaked really good, and then I can pack it. We'll probably do it multiple times. Make sure we got some good compaction going on. All right, I got this packed over 2 times. It's important that it gets packed really good and nice and wet to pack it really good. So we set up this sprinkler system right here, this sprayer. Adjusted it so that it's shooting all the way across there. I'll have to set it up in a couple shifts here, but I'm trying to get this packed down really good. Getting it nice and soaked is key for getting a really good pack. It just packs a lot better, a lot more solid than when it's dry. Overall, it's looking really good. I'm going to check it with the laser transit, see how I'm doing. So now that this is nice and wet and double packed, what I'm going to do is set up a string line every 8 feet or maybe even 4, depends on how high it is. But I need to measure, and what I'm looking for is 6.5 inches off the string right there, because I need 4 inches of concrete and 2.5 inches of foam board. And I had a spot right here that's a little high. Even though I checked it with my laser transit, I feel like having a string to reference off of is better. Maybe if I have a high spot like this, I'll check it every 4 feet or so. And I'm just going to scoop up a little bit, wheelbarrow it out of here, go over it again. But I think now's a good time to do it because you need to have this compaction in here before you know if it's for sure exactly where you want it. Okay, so what I ended up doing, I got this all level and graded out now. And it probably would be a lot easier to do it before you pack it down, but I didn't know how much compaction. I figured about 3/4 inch over here, especially because of how thick it was. But it seemed like it only went down about 1/2 inch. So it seems like 1/2 inch might be better to shoot for. I just for sure didn't want it too low, but sometimes it can actually be easier to add than take away, especially once you pack it down. This stuff packs really hard. All I have to say is what I ended up doing, and I think I talked about this a little earlier, but I set a string line up, and even though I checked it with my laser transit, this is more accurate, I think, have something to reference to. So I set this up, and first I did in 4-foot increments and checked it, but it was just too far, so I ended up doing every 2 feet. So I did that section and I got it where it needed to be. And then when I moved ahead 2 feet, I was able to get that. And then I could reference between these two easy enough, like rake it out. I pretty much was shooting just for 6.5 inches, 6.25 to 6.5. It varies a little bit. I just checked it and raked it, shoveled it if I had to, if it was too much. And I just threw everything outside. I'm going to rake this down. Right here, it's all pretty nice and flat. I went over the whole thing. Now I'm ready to set up the water again. I'm going to soak it really heavy with that sprinkler, just like yesterday. And then I'm going to pack it at least a couple times going in different directions. I think sometimes it's good if you go this way and then go this way, maybe you back this way again. You can't overpack it, that's for sure. So pack it really good and hard is my thoughts. I think that should do it. Once I get this soaked really well and get it packed again. Yeah, sprinkler, this is so nice because it just does nice soaking water all over the pad. I just move it in 2 different spots, but it's adjustable, so I got it so it just goes over to that side. And it puts a lot of water on. It works really good for this. So this has been sitting here for a while. I got this all packed down and I just gave it a little chance to kind of dry out a little bit over the weekend. It's been really hot after packing it and stuff. So overall, really happy how it turned out. So I went through, I have this little hand packer over there. I think I showed it to you earlier, but it's just like a 10x10 hand tamper. So I went around some of these drains and things like that up close to the pipes where I needed to pack it down a little, or along the edge there a little bit. So that worked out really good. So what I did is I got this. It's 6 mil, 20 foot by 100 is the biggest I could get it in. All right, well, we're out of time for today. So up next, we're gonna be doing the vapor barrier over top of the gravel now that we got it all in and packed down really well. Then next, we're gonna be doing the foam insulation board on top of the vapor barrier. So that's the next step.
in the next video, so keep your eyes open for that, the next one in the series. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of my build so far, and thanks for watching guys.